Most of the videos on the channel over the past couple of weeks have been playoff themed, and don't get me wrong, I've really enjoyed making those videos, but today I wanted to change things up a little bit and do something I haven't really done in a while. So I figured, what better time than now to bring back the NHL Deal or No Deal series. This is now episode 14. It has been 7 months since the last episode, and as soon as I seen that it's been that long, I knew I had to bring it back. If you've been subscribed to the channel for a while now, you probably already know how this works, but for any of you new subscribers who have never seen one of these videos before, basically I post on my community tab, as you guys can see on the screen. It's time for another NHL Deal or No Deal. Comment your mock trades down below for a chance to be featured. I go through, pick out a couple, and pretty much we just talk about them in a video. I say this at the beginning of all these interactive videos. I apologize in advance if your comment was not featured. There was well over 200 comments on the post, so obviously I can't include them all. Just be sure to have those notifications on, and it should notify you whenever I post on my community tab, and then hopefully you can have your comment featured in the next one of these videos. As always, if you guys are new to the channel and you want to see more NHL content like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And now I'll stop rambling and let's get into the video with the first comment. The first mock trade of the video comes from Christian M. You guys know I had to put at least one Detroit trade in here. This person says Detroit sends Evgeny Svechnikov and a 4th round pick to Carolina for Jake Bean and a 2nd. Goes on to say this reunites the Svechnikov brothers and gives Detroit a top D prospect that doesn't have much of an opportunity in Carolina, which is definitely true. Svechnikov recently signed a 1-year extension with the Red Wings. My hope is that he gets a good amount of opportunity to play in the NHL in this up-and-coming season. I feel like if it doesn't go well, this might be the last we see of Svechnikov, not only in Detroit, but in the NHL. I would not be surprised if he spends a lot of his career in the KHL. As a Red Wings fan, I would say yes to this trade. Detroit could definitely use another defensive prospect, but looking at it from the view of Carolina, I don't think they'd even make this trade, so for that reason I'll have to say no deal. Moving along now, this next comment comes from Ben A, who says William Nylander, Andreas Johnsson, and a 2nd round pick for Aaron Ekblad and a conditional 3rd. I definitely think Toronto will make a significant trade in the offseason. However, I don't see Aaron Ekblad really being a potential target, although I think the value in this trade is relatively even. Florida is a team that could also use help on the blue line in my opinion, like Toronto, so I definitely don't see them trading away their best defensemen. Getting wingers like William Nylander and Andreas Johnsson would be cool for them, considering they could potentially lose both Evgeny Dadonov and Mike Hoffman to free agency, but then you also have to consider Owen Tippett is probably going to be in the NHL next season. Like I said, I think the value is relatively even here, so definitely a solid mock trade, but just for the fact that it doesn't make sense for Florida to trade Aaron Ekblad, I'm going to say no deal. Continuing on, this mock trade comes from Yoinkerdoodle, who says Murray to the Oilers. I'm going to go ahead and assume he means Matt Murray in exchange for Jesse Puljujarvi and a 2nd round pick in 2021. Scrolling through the comments of the post looking for trades, there were a lot involving Matt Murray, and I'm assuming that is because Pittsburgh is going to have to make a choice between him and Tristan Jarry, especially when the expansion draft rolls around. And hey, instead of losing one for nothing to Seattle, why not go ahead and trade one of those guys, try to bring some value back. Definitely something I could see happening. I like the idea of Matt Murray going to Edmonton. The Oilers goaltending in their play-in series against the Blackhawks was just not good enough. I definitely think they have to address that in the offseason. And as far as Jesse Puljujarvi goes, I know he did come out and say he was open to returning to Edmonton now. They have a new coach, a new GM. He said he matured. Even with that in mind, I still think there's a strong possibility we see him traded, and I actually like this one, so I'm gonna go ahead and say deal here. Moving on now, we have a comment from Molly who says Greg McKaig for Connor McDavid. How did this get in here? Next up, we have a comment from Tommy, and this is a trade that I have seen a lot of people throw around. Deal or no deal, Ottawa trades their 3rd and 5th overall picks for the 1st overall pick. While yes, Alexis Lafreniere potentially could be a franchise-altering player, and I would go on a limb and say New York is probably going to hold on to that draft pick. If I'm Ottawa, I don't even know if I would want to trade the 3rd and 5th overall picks for the 1st overall pick. This draft is looking like it is going to be extremely deep. Obviously, we're going to have to wait and see how these players pan out before we can really determine that. But if I had to guess, I would say any team drafting in the top 5 is going to get an amazing prospect. And Ottawa having 2 picks in the top 5 could really speed speed up their rebuilding process. With the third pick, Ottawa will most likely get one of Quinton Byfield or Tim Stützle. Probably Stützle. I would say Byfield is a lock to go number 2, and then with the 5th overall pick, they could get one of Cole Perfetti, Marco Rossi, or Jamie Drysdale. They already have an extremely bright future as is, and adding 2 of those guys I just mentioned to their young core is going to be pretty insane. So maybe I'm crazy here, but I don't think Ottawa does this. I'm going to say no deal. Moving along now, we have another Matt Murray trade, this one coming from random Ranger fan who says Murray to the Flames for Dylan Dubé, a 2021 third and a 2020 fourth. Now Calgary is a team, like Edmonton, where goaltending is a pretty big question mark, and last night, their biggest game of the year, Game 6 against the Stars, goaltending really let them down, and overall it was just a collapse for the Calgary Flames. It is going to be an interesting offseason for the Calgary Flames. There's definitely going to be a lot of changes, whether that's players on the ice, coaching, or even upper management, but I don't think trading away Dylan Dubé would be the answer. I would actually say he's one of their untouchables, along with a guy like Matt Tkachuk, Andrew Mangiapane, and probably Rasmus Anderson. While I like the idea of Calgary going out and addressing goaltending and getting a guy like Matt Murray, I don't think trading away Dylan Dubé would be the way to go at all. He was one of Calgary's bright spots over the past couple of weeks. I would say Calgary is more in the market to go out and sign a free agent goaltender like maybe Braden Holtby or a guy like Robin Lehner, who's probably a more realistic option, so I'm going to go ahead and say no deal to this one. Next up, we have a comment from Henberg, and I don't actually really want to talk about this mock trade, which is Sergei Bobrovsky and a first for Joonas Korpisalo. I kind of just want to talk about this situation. It is so insane to me that Sergei Bobrovsky left the Blue Jackets, signed that massive contract with the Panthers, gets paid $10 million a season, and everybody kind of left the Columbus Blue Jackets for dead, including myself. I didn't think they were going to be very good this season. I definitely underestimated the coaching there and the players that are still there. And right now, if you were to ask 31 general managers around the NHL which goaltender they would rather have, Joonas Korpisalo or Sergei Bobrovsky, I can guarantee you at least 95% are going to say Joonas Korpisalo. He is much younger, and quite frankly right now, he is much better than Bobrovsky. It's just insane how this whole situation worked out for Columbus. They didn't have to pay Bobrovsky a lot of money, and now you look at their goaltending situation, they have 2 great young goaltenders in Korpisalo and Elvis. Moving along now, this next comment comes from Joshua, who says Mitch Marner for Brett Pesce, Warren Foegele, and a first-round pick. Don't get me wrong, I love Brett Pesce. I definitely think he is somebody the Leafs should go out and target in the offseason, but I'm going to go ahead right away and say no deal to this one. I think Toronto could get a much better package than this for Mitch Marner. Warren Fogel's a solid young player. The first round pick is cool and everything, but it's probably going to be in like the 20 to 30 range. If there is a trade between Carolina and Toronto in the offseason, I would say it's more likely we see a guy like Kasperi Kapanen or maybe a William Nylander going back to Carolina as opposed to a player like Mitch Marner. The next mock trade comes from Oliver Reed, who says Detroit gets Adam Fox, Alexander Georgiev, and a first. New York gets Tyler Bertuzzi, Philip Hronek, and a third. As much as I would love for this to happen, I'm going to go ahead right away and say no deal. I don't see the New York Rangers ever trading Adam Fox, at least not anytime soon. They do have a bit of a cap crunch, and with Tony DeAngelo being an RFA this offseason, I would say it's much more likely we see them go the route of trading somebody like Tony DeAngelo as opposed to Adam Fox, who's still on his entry-level contract and just had an amazing rookie season. Now for the final mock trade of the video, Mitch Marner for Ryan Ellis and Victor Arvidsson. I would say the value in this trade is a lot more equal than the other Mitch Marner trade we talked about. Ryan Ellis is another guy I would like to see the Maple Leafs go out and target. I think he would be an amazing fit for them. It's just a matter of making a trade work. If you're the Maple Leafs, you probably don't trade Mitch Marner straight up for Ryan Ellis. I would say that's why Wizard Tower here put Victor Arvidsson in the trade, and Victor Arvidsson is a great player. This is a guy that had an amazing 2018-19 season. Not as good this year, but still, he's a great player on a fantastic contract as well. This is really tough. Any Predators or Maple Leafs fans watching this video, make sure to let me know down below in the comment section, how would you feel if a trade happened exactly like this one on the screen? And you know what, I don't usually say deal to the big blockbuster trades in these videos because in the NHL you don't really see a lot of massive trades like some of the other major sports like basketball and even football and baseball. However, I do like this trade, and I'm going to end off the video by saying deal to this one. That is going to wrap up the 14th episode of NHL Deal or No Deal. If you guys show a ton of support on this one, I will definitely make sure to do another fan interactive video in the near future. I just want to say thank you guys so much for all the support on the channel lately. It has been insane. If you did enjoy this video, please make sure to go down there and drop a like on it. That is the best way to share your support. And as always, if you guys are new to the channel and you want to see more NHL content like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys on the next video.